What is up, guys? My name is MipZ and welcome back for yet another League of Legends video. So today we're playing a champion that I personally have been looking very much forward to. This is kind of just a champion that I personally really felt like making a guide on, so that's why we're doing this one today. It's a champion that I highly recommend basically any mid main to have in their roster because he's insanely good, especially if you're sitting there and you need to help a friend out, carry him to gold or something like that, or even a champ to just to climb with, because this guy is absolutely insane. He's, in my opinion, once you get into like mid to late game, he becomes slightly overpowered and really fun. Today we are of course playing KASSADIN. So yeah, KASSADIN is a super fun champion. As I've mentioned before in my guides, we are not going to dive into the runes and the items because those change pretty frequently. So what I've done instead is I've left a link for MOB Analytics, a direct page where it shows the current best build. This means it's getting updated every time things change. So you can just follow that one to get the items and the runes. And if you're interested, then I can strongly recommend downloading the application. You can do this by also clicking the other link down below, where you just download the MOB Analytics application down. And the cool thing with this one is that it allows you to just import the runes and the items directly into the game, so that you don't have to sit and click them. And it's just a really nice thing to use. I personally use it and I'm very happy with it. And yeah, if any of you guys get used to it and really like it and are thinking about acquiring the premium version, then make sure to use my code MipZ for 10% off on your subscription. Anyway, that is all the plug for that thing. I personally use this thing. I can strongly recommend it. Anyway, the agenda for this video is, first of all, we're going to talk a little bit about who this champion is for, and that's mostly just going to be to kind of give you an idea of what to expect in your first couple of games and down the road. And then afterwards, we're going to move into talking about the abilities, what they do, how they work, so you understand the full ins and outs of the abilities, and thereby get an understanding of what is this champion good against and what's he's like not as good against. So yeah, that's kind of the initial plan. Then we're going to start, after we've talked about the abilities, we'll talk about the combos that you want to use on this champion, and then lastly we'll move into like the overall strategy of how to play this champion in the different phases of the game. As I've mentioned before in my videos, the primary purpose is not to show you guys perfect gameplay. It's just to make it slightly entertaining, to make it showcase the points and kind of just teach you guys the tools you need to master the champion. And that's kind of the purpose. Gonna try and make this as easy as possible to understand. Anyway, let's start off with the very first thing. So who's this champion for? Well, personally, I would say that this is a champion that I probably wouldn't recommend if I had a friend starting out with League for the first time. This is probably not the first champion that I would recommend him to play, because he's not super easy, mostly because melee champions or melee mid laners rarely are. They're rarely a little bit harder. But if you are like mediocre, if you're in late bronze or start to mid silver, then it's a champion I would strongly recommend you to start picking up, and like it's a champ that you can really grow with. This guy's played at very high elo. It's even played from time to time in pro games, and it's a champ that becomes really hard to do much about once you get into I actually need to be a little careful here. He becomes really hard to deal with for the enemy team once you get into the late game. It's just he scales so well. He's probably one of the champs in the entire game that scales the best. So it's something that you really let's get ourselves a control ward here. So it's something that you definitely want to keep in mind. But yeah, if this is the champion for you, then like honestly, this is a champ that you will have so much fun with, because he is just so insanely strong. So let's try and slowly see if we can get into talking about some of the abilities, start doing better in lane, and start beating this 6 up, so I can show you guys that this champion can do something else than standing under his turret. So yeah, let's start talking about the very first ability we have, and that's our passive. This is usually the spell that most people don't really know what does, and it's pretty important because it actually tells you a lot about what Kassadin is good at. What his passive does is that it decreases or reduces any magic damage, emphasis on magic damage, that Kassadin takes by 15%. This means that Kassadin is really good against spellcasters. Like against 6 here, every time he casts a spell on me, if he hits me with a nade, it's magic damage. I take 15% less damage than I would with basically more or less any other champion, which is pretty cool. And this is of course to enable Kassadin to farm, even though he's a melee champion. I guess that's the reason why Riot chose to give him this spell. All right, let's see. Additionally, your passive also allows you to run through minions, which is super cool. It's basically called ignoring unit collision. That's what you can see right here. I can run straight through my minions. I'm not gonna be able to. There we go. And that's a super cool thing. What this ignoring unit collision basically helps you do, it helps you reach your targets easier, both when farming or if you're chasing somebody. Then you're not going to be stuck by having to run around minions, which is, this is super neat. But that's all your passive does: ignoring unit collision, reducing magic damage. It's just really, like, it's really good, dude. I'm telling you guys, it's really good. All right, so our next spell. Okay, so they probably have some vision here. I might be able to, yeah, they do. He actually pinged it, so maybe not going there would have been best. I think I will put a control ward here and actually use my ult. This guy's fairly low in mana, by the way. All right, just let me just take this minion and we'll get into to the next spell. So our next spell is called a Null Zephyr. And Null Zephyr is actually really cool, and there are parts of it that at least lower elo players have a tendency to miss. What Null Zephyr basically does is it's a click to target ability that just deals damage to your target. Fairly simple. Additionally, it actually interrupts any channeling spells. For those of you who don't know what channeling spells are things like Malzar's ult, things where they have to stand still, and it basically has like a cast time. That's basically what a channel is. So with this, you always, if you can, you want to, like, you will see very good players timing this such that they interrupt their target's channel spells if they are against the target with this. Especially good versus like a Malzar. Or like an Israel ult like this one. You could also do it on that one if done correctly. So that's basically that part of it. So it deals damage, interrupts channels, and it has one more effect, which is that it gives you a shield. This shield is only a magic shield, and what this means is that it only helps you against magic damage. So if somebody deals damage to you with physical damage, then you're gonna take, like, it's not gonna take from your shield even though you have your shield on. So that's basically what it does. Whenever you cast this, you instantly gain a shield, and we'll try and do it on this 6 in a second. And you'll basically see that this is also what, again, one of the reasons why Kassadin is such an amazing champ against spellcasters, because he can trade very well. Like, he can cast this, his Q, he just casts that one, and then he can basically take a trade, because he's gonna get the shield and most likely gonna get out of most trades with a win. All right, so that is your Q. All right, I'm just farming up a little bit. I'm gonna keep an eye out here because I have a feeling that if 6 comes down here, I'm gonna probably take some damage as I take this if he didn't back. All right. All right, 6 is here too. This is not a winning fight. Like, it sucks we're gonna lose the Drake here, but I'm gonna use my ult. I'm not gonna need my flash here. We'll take it slow. I'll back off. And I'll go back into lane. Actually, I can just... Okay, I should have backed. I should not have canceled that back at all. I might actually suffer from this. Yep. Yep, I should have backed. That was terrible. All right. Anyway, that's going to give us a little bit of time to talk about the next ability. And I'll make sure that we start snowballing this slowly, such that I can show you guys just the full potential of this guy. And even if I don't, I'm telling you guys, this guy will become absolutely insane as we get into the mid-late game. Like, this guy is going to be absolutely insane. Anyway, his next ability, his W, is called the Nether Blade. And Nether Blade is, yeah, it's of course the blade he's running around with. It's super cool. It looks kind of like, I don't know, in my eyes, it looks kind of like, you know, the blade in Assassin's Creed. Kind of has that, I don't know, vibe to it. Anyway, this ability has two sides to it. It has a passive side and it has an active side. So let's first talk about the passive one, the one that you're always going to have. And that is that once you level, or you have one level in your Nether Blade, or as soon as you have the ability, you get this passive buff that, or it's not really a buff because it's not really down here, but you basically have a passive side of the ability that empowers KASSADIN's weapon. And this weapon, the way it works is that it empowers it scaling with ability power. And this empower just basically makes KASSADIN's basic attack deal more damage. That's all it does, and that scales with ability power, meaning that the more ability power you have, the more damage your basic attacks will deal. And this is one of the reasons why KASSADIN is actually also pretty decent, or pretty good actually, at pushing objectives like turrets, etc. Like in late game, he can actually push them really, really hard, which is super good. All right. I'm gonna start looking a little bit to see if we can find a place to roam. Could also try and see if we can do something onto this guy. He doesn't have a lot of mana, so, and I feel like he might disrespect us a little bit because we have been playing super passive. Can at least get some damage onto him. He is gonna be scared and run away. All right. So that guy's going to run to his mommy. And while he does that, we can talk a little bit more about this one. So as I was saying, passive ability, all this thing does, or the passive side of it, is that it empowers KASSADIN's blade to deal more damage on his basic attacks, scaling with ability power. So that's all that passive side of it does. Then we have the active side. Oops, that was actually, you should always max E after your Q, but this was just a misclick. Anyway, as I was saying, the active side of your W is pretty cool. And it's actually something that you need to manage pretty well if you are a KASSADIN main, because KASSADIN is usually, he's very mana hungry with his ult, and we'll talk about that one in a second. But your E really comes into play here. Like, it has a really, really big... all right, not gonna take that one. It really consumes a lot of mana. Anyway, the active side of your W, your Nether Blade, is that it's first of all an auto attack reset. And this basically means that if you auto attack, I'll do it on this minion. If you auto attack a minion and then click your W, then it instantly auto attacks again. And that's what you call an auto attack reset. Fairly simple. So this basically just means with any auto attack reset, then you always, I'll see flash. With any auto attack reset, you always want to make sure that you auto attack normally first and then click the active to reset it, such that you get basically get a free auto attack. So you really want to make sure that you do that. All right, let's back off. We can back, and then we can probably TP down here. If I can get there in time, I might be able to, but I do have to get my back first. Oh, it's not gonna happen. I'm gonna keep an eye on it. If something more goes down, or they try to dive this guy, then I'll definitely jump down there. All right, I'm coming. Right here, I'm on my way. This is 2 free kills, most likely. It should be pretty free. Gimme, gimme, gimme. Not gonna be able to save him, sadly. Yeah, all right. Fair enough. Let's push this back and then run back to our own lane. Sadly, this guy got to push our lane in. It happens. All right. But yeah, the active side, always, you always want to use this as an auto attack reset, such that you get a free auto attack. So you auto attack and then click the W to attack again. What the active ability actually does is that it just makes your next attack, first of all, deal more damage. So this resetted attack deals more damage, but it also gives you some mana back. If you do it on a minion, it gives you 6% of your missing mana back, meaning that the lower mana you have, the more mana this ability will give you back. If you, however, use your W on a champion, then it gives you up to 30% of your missing mana back, which is super cool. So you can get a lot of mana back from this one if you're like almost completely like this ability costs freaking 1 mana. So that way you can basically get, like, at this point, like, you can get a lot of mana back. So it's something that you do want to stay aware of. You want to use this fairly well. So that is your W. All right. There's no more magic to that one. That's all it does. Let's see if I can go help this guy. I can slow him. I'm a little bit in doubt of whether or not we are going to win this. All right. I'm going to get out. There we go. We are going to survive. Sadly, they actually got this rift up, which I did not notice. So I don't know if it was... I should probably have went in here defended instead of going for that fight. That was kind of greedy. Oh, all right. This is scary. All right, let's talk about our next ability. And our next ability is our E. It's called Force Pulse. And Force Pulse is kind of a weird one and something that I think a lot of new players are probably a little bit confused about. And I fully understand why. Let's actually get this. And I fully understand why, because it can be kind of it's kind of a weird ability. And as far as I remember on top of my head, there are no other abilities that work like this, at least currently. The way it works is that your E pulls, force pulls becomes active or becomes available whenever somebody near you or yourself has casted 6 abilities. So this basically means that the more people that are close, the lower the cooldown on the ability will be. So this is like a pretty neat thing. Yeah. I should win this. Thank you. So the more often this thing becomes active or becomes available for you. So if you're in a team fight, you can pop your E much more frequent than if you're in a one-on-one, making this ability super strong. The way it works is basically that your E deals damage in a cone in front of you. You can see if I hover over it, this is basically the area in which it hits. And it just deals a good chunk of damage, and it actually slows your targets up to 90%, which is honestly super good. So you can use this both as an initiate, but also like just as poke, and you can use it to chase people down. It's a super strong ability. All right, don't want this fight. I think this Garen is pretty strong. I think I will go down here, see if I can help out. Okay, so I can charge my... All right, I'm just gonna try and get out of this. Oh, nice. Another one. I might die here. It's gonna be, I guess it's worth. We did get a lot of kills, so it's fine. It's fine. I kind of got to the start of the point of showing you guys just how strong he is. But yeah, your pulse or your force pulse is super simple. Just, yeah, it's basically all it does. Slows people, deals a good chunk of damage to anything in that area. And yeah, it becomes available the more often people cast spells close to you in a close proximity, or if you cast it yourself. You can see how close you are to getting your force pulse back by looking down here. I'll show you guys as we spawn. so you can see exactly how it works. And then we'll talk about the ult, then we'll go into the combos in just a second. So yeah, if you click our ult, you can see we basically we have this force pulse here. You can see after 6 spells are cast in your KASSADIN, he can force pulse. You can see as every time we click it, we get another one. So as soon as this one reaches 6, then we can use it. So it's something to stay aware of because it can enable you quite a lot. So always keep in your mind and keep a focus on when this thing is ready. All right. So our next and final ability is our ult, and our ult is the most iconic spell for KASSADIN. It's the spell that you, in my opinion, it's the goddamn reason you play this champion. It's so fun. It is such an amazing spell. It's, in my opinion, kind of overpowered, but it's fun. It's really, really fun. What your ult does, it's called, or first of all, it's called the Rift Walk. And what it basically does is that it allows you to jump, like, or not jump, it's actually a teleport, because a jump, you would travel the distance and you would be able to get hit while traveling, but this is a teleport. So you can teleport a short distance. It's a little bit longer than a flash, and then you deal damage to anything in the area in the location that you basically teleport to. I should not. Okay, maybe I should. This is fine. Like, you can just see this 6 has no chance whatsoever. And this is one of the good things. Like, he's amazing at picking up targets. Okay, so that aside, basically your rift walk allows you to teleport to a location. You deal damage to anything surrounding your landing location. So basically like this, you can see I just killed all of the things that were where I landed. You can of course do this over basically more or less any wall. I need to help over here. I'm too slow. I'm gonna TP. This should be oh, that trundle is kind of annoying. I'll say as much. But we are pretty fit at this point. I think we'll go for an hourglass here, just such that we can hourglass away from this trundle, because he is apparently super strong. He has 10 kills, so yeah, he hurts a little bit. But yeah, your rift walk, it's fairly simple. You can teleport to a location. You deal damage to anything in close proximity or surrounding you where you land. It's basically very small in terms of where you land. You can see if we hold over it, it's basically the inner circle here, that is the location or the area in which you're going to deal damage. The thing is that as you guys have noticed, and I'm using this ability several times, every time you use it, it consumes double the mana. So at the very start, it's going to consume 50 mana, and every time it's going to double all the way up to 800, meaning that this doubling of how much it costs can happen up to 4 times. And you might think, well, isn't that kind of risky using it that many times? Well, the reason why I'm sometimes like pre-charging this and using extra mana intentionally is because this ability actually deals also more damage every time you use it. The way this works is basically that every time you cast it again, it's gonna give more damage that also scales both with how much mana you have in total, but also your ability power. So it actually becomes like the damage you do when you are reaching max stacks on KASSADIN is significantly higher than it would be otherwise. There we go. It's significantly higher than it would otherwise. I'll show you guys. You can basically one-shot people with this. Let's see if we can find this this 6 somewhere. Like, you can, the damage we deal at this point is just it's insane. Like, we're just beating up. There's nothing he can do. But as you guys can see, it consumes mana very fast. After a brief moment, then this it's gonna reset. Then it's gonna reset down to no stacks and only costing 50 mana. So you need to kind of be aware of this. for those of you, and this of course subject to change, but those of you who wants to know exactly the duration, then these stacks stay there for 15 seconds. You can also see it on your mini bar here showing how long till your stacks, or on your HUD here, how long till these stacks are gone. And that's basically it. It's quite simple, and it's really good. So always, like, that's the thing. I would say that to deal the most damage you want to have, you want to get to 4 stacks, but you also want to do it mindfully. And this is where the difference between a decent Kassadin player comes in and a great one, because a great one knows how to keep his mana up and how to actually, like, how to have optimal damage without going out of mana, and also knowing when to go all in, because you may, like, knowing when you get mana back from your W, knowing if you have Presence of Mind rune, etc. Like, there's a... All right, we should be able to beat this guy up. Okay, no, I regret this. I very much regret this. I need to get away before that Garen ults me. Yeah, we do have stopwatch, but I'll save this guy, slowing him a little bit. He's gonna ult me. Yeah, should not have tried to save him, or at least I needed to hit it such that I avoided Garen's ult. But yeah, that's your Rift Walk. All it does, lets you jump. The more stacks you have, the more damage you deal. A good Kassadin knows how to sufficiently use, or efficiently use your ult without going and stand, like, being unusable in a fight, but also knows how to, yeah, just deal the optimal damage. That's your ult. So that kind of brings us to the next things, and that's the combos. So the combos on Kassadin are fairly intuitive and fairly simple. Let's just see what happens here. Nice. This guy actually got him. I can help with this guy. This guy's not going to get away from me. I do not think so. I will catch you. I will catch you. I think. It's a little harder than... Oh my god. Okay, I'm not going to catch him. Rip. That guy was like... Yeah, that was Forrest Gump on steroids. Let's take the blue buff. Alright, so let's talk a little bit about the combo. So generally with Kassadin, then what you want to do is in laning phase, you want to make sure that you poke using your Q, because this kind of allows you to freely trade if you're playing against spellcasters more or less, because every time you cast your Q, you deal a good chunk of damage, but you also gain a shield yourself. A nice thing is if you are using fleet work, as we are here, this is one of the builds for Kassadin. This can of course change, but then you can attack a minion to get some movement speed, and that way it's going to be easier for you to get close enough to use your Q. Oh, okay, so this is not ideal for us. I'm gonna go behind these guys. Oh, they're gonna have to fully stack up here. So right here, we're doing everything we can. I don't think I can beat this guy one-on-one. He has too much magic resist at this point, so I'm not even gonna try to I'm not gonna try to do anything about that one. So I think at this point, in order to win this, we need a Void Staff, because they are starting to build too much magic resist at this point. All right, but yeah, we're talking about the combo. So combo wise, in laning phase, there are different options. First of all, or just in general, first of all, you can poke using your Q, of course, very simple, and you can basically also use your Q E W. You can also do like an EQW, which is probably the most common thing for you. Every time you have your E ready, especially in laning phase, then using your E before using your Q and your W is ideal. And the reason for this is that then your abilities are going to start bringing back those force pull stacks that you really want, because yeah, you want to use this ability again. So getting this ability ready, and then oh, this guy's gonna get caught and there's not much I can do about it, but I am gonna be able to oh, this might not have been this was not oh, thank you. That turned out so much better than I expected. Okay, so we might win this because they went so hard. They might win that fight. Nice. If this Garen doesn't, yeah, all right, sweet. This turned out better than I expected. But yeah, generally speaking, you wanna, if you wanna go for trades, see if you can get your force pulse ready, and then go for an EQW, and make sure that you get that auto attack in between. Such that you use the auto attack reset from your W. It's very important. With your ult and laning phase, be very cautious. It has a little longer cooldown, and also if you use it, you're basically more or less all in. So it's something you gotta stay aware of. And also pre-charging it, you can do this to lane, use it to get faster in lane, but also if you know that you're about to challenge someone, make sure that you use it wisely and basically get the charges up to deal more damage. I would not advise you to always just stack up to 4 charges instantly, because you are going to start eating your own mana up insanely fast. But yeah, of course, with this guy, like your max damage is always going to be having full 4 stacks and then jumping onto your target using your EQW. That's going to be max damage, and that's going to allow you to get your stacks back a lot faster as well. So you will be able to cast your E very quickly once again. All right, let's talk a little bit about this guy basically in the laning phase and in the mid game and the late game. So how do you want to play him? Well, in early game, he's actually not that bad. Oh, let's be aware here. What you want to do, like generally speaking, I would strongly advise you to pick this guy against like spellcasters. That's basically what he's strongest. I hope that was kind of obvious with his abilities in terms of his passive, etc., like what they can do. Should be a free pick. Nice. Basically in terms of what they can do, that's generally what you want to pick him against. He is like at lower elo, you're probably going to be able to pick him more or less against anything, just because the nature of the fact that the games are mostly very long. That guy's dead. You know what, I'll TP top and I'll just push up here. The games are usually pretty long, and that with that in mind, then you're probably always going to get to a state where you're fairly strong, even if you're having a bad early game. So always play the late game on this guy as well, because he does become an absolute beast. But in the early game, if you can 1v1 your opponent, and that's of course very good. If not, that's also fine. Then try instead to roam. Then instead try and roam. Let's see if we can bait this guy away. Yep, that worked. I'm gonna have to back out here. Then of course, if you feel like you're unable to win 1v1 on your lane or get your jungler in there, then generally speaking, roam on KASSADIN. Like KASSADIN is an absolute beast at roaming. He's super strong. Like don't underestimate this guy. Roam as much as you can. You have a lot of mobility, and you can even bait people out. Let's see if we can save this guy. I might be able to. Nope. All right, if we need to this is really bad. This is really bad. A little unsure how we're gonna turn this around. Maybe I can bait them to just run around after me. That would be nice. Or do nothing. It seems like they're going out here. I don't know what this guy's doing, but sure. All right, we'll take that one. Thank you, thank you. But yeah, in the early game, I can strongly advise you to roam. It really helps a lot. It both helps your teammates win, but it's also pretty hard for like Kassadin has more mobility than his opponents, so shoving the lane using your E is just like you can shove it fairly fast, roam, and you'll get to the enemy or to the other lanes probably quicker than the enemy laner. You can also do what I did earlier, where I just kind of put some vision down. I was like, okay, I know this 6 might go down here, and what I did was just kind of bait him down here and then jump in his face. So kind of make these assassin-like plays, which is very fun. But yeah, try and play very much around your teammates with this guy. As we move into the mid game, it's very much the same story. Try and help your teammates. Move to side lanes if necessary. Make sure that you keep farming. And in terms of like basically in terms of playing, it's very much the same. Try and kind of find people off guard. You're insanely strong against squishies, so try and focus on lanes where there are squishy champions, such as I did here. I focus on getting down and helping with this Ashe. I knew she was fairly easy. The Puppy, not so much, but yeah, you gotta take what's served. Once you get into the late game, this is where things become very interesting. This is where team fights happen mostly, and this is where Kassadin really, like, this is where he strives. So what do you want to do with Kassadin? All right, I'm pretty unsure if I can get on this. I can't. All right. So what you want to do with Kassadin in the late game is that you actually want to make sure that you always try and go for the backline. You want to go for the ADC. You want to go for their mid laner. You want to make sure to get these targets down. And the way to do this is rarely from the front. It's very rare that you want to attack these guys directly from the front line. Mostly you want to do what I've been doing throughout the game. You want to try and find an angle and then kind of flank them from the side. It's very hard for them to do anything about if their supports or their peeling is not, their peeling champions are not aware of this. Then you can very easily get into the back line, just kill their targets or kill their squishies very, very easily and jump out again and help out with the others. Like, you're super strong. You are going to be able to basically one shot. You can see just how strong we were in this game against these guys. It was a pretty difficult game, and also my focus when doing these videos and talking is yeah, kind of all over the place. I'm trying to show you guys, and I feel like even though we did not win the game, I got to show you guys like kind of the potential of this guy. Like, if I sat there and actually focused, I'm pretty sure that we could probably bring the win home, but that's not the point of the video. The point of the video was showing you guys how to do this, but really emphasis on team fighting. With Kassadin, you're not meant to kill tanks. Of course, you in some extent can if you're fed enough, and you from time to time. Everything is a subject to a certain case. Like, basically I can't generalize everything and say never kill a tank, but mostly with Kassadin, your strategy is go for the squishies. In order to do this the easiest, try to find flanks or ways to attack them where they are vulnerable, where they don't notice. And that's what I kept doing, using walls so you can jump over and just basically jump right in their face. It's so annoying as an ADC. It's so annoying as another mid laner, just sitting there, and every time the fight starts you instantly die. And if you do that, if your ADC is then doing his job and nobody's assassinating him straight away, then you should per default more or less win that team fight. But of course it comes down to everybody doing their job to some extent. But yeah, I hope this kind of gave you an idea of everything. We did get 16 kills. It's not the point of the video, but I hope it kind of emphasized just how strong this guy is. But yeah, I really enjoyed playing this one. I hope you guys enjoyed seeing it as well. It was a fun game. And yeah, it's an absolutely amazing champion. So for those of you picking this champion up, I wish you the very best of luck. And again, I can strongly recommend you guys to go get the mobile analytics app. It's super good. I'm so happy about using it myself, because it just makes, even though I know the runes, it's super easy to just click one button and it imports the runes for you into the client or into League of Legends. And yeah, you don't have to sit there and pick and choose. That's just super neat. And it shows you stats from like it shows you live stats of the game, like basically what you're up against, what the rating is, if they're on a win or lose streak, etc. It's just super cool. It can do a lot of really nice things, and I'm sure they're working on a lot more. Anyway, that is more or less going to be it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, then make sure to smash that like button. I would really appreciate it. It's been absolutely insane to see how much support we've gotten on my content the last 6 months, so thank you guys so much for that. And if you're not already, then make sure to subscribe down below and join the MipZ squad. It's been absolutely freaking ridiculous seeing just how many of you guys have chosen to join. It's just like it's insane. Thank you guys so much for subscribing. It really does mean a lot to me, and yeah, the future holds a lot of cool things for us, so I'm very excited. I have a lot of news coming out throughout the next couple of months that I'm really excited about sharing with you guys. But yeah, everything in due time. But that's gonna be it for this video. As always, stay awesome, have fun, and take it easy, guys.